I'm the memories you struggle to keep repressed, and the reflection in the mirror that looks unconfident as to project that onto your psyche. I'm the teachable moment you refuse to learn from. I'm the idealized nightmare you wake up from to find yourself in a mundane routine you yearn to wake up from. I'm Dead Palette, and I do appreciate being called a liar. It's come to my attention that standing at the foot of someone's bed while they're asleep loses all effect when that someone is in the middle of a deep slumber. So make sure to be the recipient of a restless sleep tonight by indulging in stressful thoughts at this point in time, whatever it may be. Even as a kid, I was good at taking things apart. My parents bought me a bike for my 5th birthday, and within a week, I'd stripped it down into a shadow of what it used to be. Things like this happen so often that my parents stopped buying me things that could come apart easily. But even then, I managed to find a way. There was just something magical about it. That sensation of taking someone or something's hard work and returning it to pieces. It felt natural. It felt good. It felt right. Somewhere along the way, I tried to become a tinker. I amassed my collection of odds and ends and tried to build something better from those fragmentary pieces. I spent days and days connecting this, rotating that, cutting down and fixing together. In the end, it never felt right. The outcome was always ugly in my eyes. Everything I made was a Frankenstein, so I stripped it back to pieces and set everything right again. Everything's imperfections vanish at their most basic level. Those ugly habits of motion, the lack of control, the frustration innate in coordination. It dissolves when everything is neatly diminished into piles of this and that, black and white. I've learned to love simplicity, to embrace Occam's razor in the sharpest of means. I'm a reverse engineer, and I'm making the world a better place, one person at a time. Analysis by the knife. It was about 3 in the afternoon, and we were curled up on the sofa watching a movie. I was barely paying attention while my 2 children watched, instead scrolling down my Facebook newsfeed on my phone, occasionally liking and commenting on things. Now and again I would glance up to make sure I had an idea of what was happening, and right now 2 knights were sword fighting, the clanging of parried blades and shifting armor echoing around the room. The boys were excited, mimicking what they saw on the screen with zeal, and I smiled, returning to my scrolling. Is this real, Dad? The movie? I looked down at his upturned face with a smile. Yeah. Can this really happen? He glanced away from me, back to the screen. I shook my head, returning to looking at my phone. Not these days. It's a movie, son. They're make-believe. It had been the older of my 2 boys, the 8-year-old, and he seemed satisfied with my answer, ruffling his younger brother's hair. At some point shortly after, the film finished and the credits began to roll. I made my way upstairs to use the bathroom, and the boys headed towards the kitchen to get drinks. I was washing my hands when I heard it. A blood-curdling scream from the older boy. Running downstairs, almost stumbling, I rushed to the kitchen and froze in horror, my hands over my mouth. My younger son was lying on the linoleum, a pool of blood spreading around him. "You said it can't happen these days," the older boy shouted at me, panic covering his face, blood still dripping from the knife in his hand. "You said it was make-believe." They had been sword fighting with knives. The older boy had ducked, his blade slipping under his brother's rib, killing him instantly. Apparently, I had missed one of the knights dying on screen. Regret by the knife. I hate my life. I hate my boss, who does nothing but think of himself. He gives himself raises while his staff gets tiny but noticeable cuts. And when someone tries to report him, they're fired. I hate my now ex-girlfriend, who I found sleeping with my brother and former best friend. I still have a picture of her in my wallet. I have no idea why. I hate my abusive family, who berate me for everything I do in my life. Those were my thoughts as I disembarked from the plane. I went to grab my bags. When I had gotten them, someone tapped me on my shoulder. I turned. Standing there was a hunched man who looked like he lived on the streets. $4, I'll carry your bags, sir," he said in a strained tone of voice, like he was carrying something already. I didn't want to burden someone, so at first I refused, but he insisted. I relented and handed him my roller. He insisted he take the rest. I reluctantly handed them to him. As I walked out to get a taxi, my mood began to drastically improve. I forgot all about my worries and cares. When I got a taxi, I told the man he could put my bags down. I handed him $5 in thanks. He thanked me and walked away, looking like he was still carrying bags from the way he was hunched. I got everything in the car after packing up and rode to my hotel. I pulled out to pay and I saw a picture of me and a woman. The caption said she was my girlfriend. Who is she? Repression by the knife.
Mother always warned me not to cross the street. Mother warned me about those types of things. She said bad men would kidnap me, take me away. I guess she was right, in a way. I crossed one day, because I never was a good child, and several men came out and picked me up and asked me many questions. I don't know why she never wanted me to cross the street. All the men wore blue and had badges. I don't know why they put silver bracelets on Mother. I don't know why Mother attempted to bite one of them. I don't know a lot of things, I suppose. And years later, I'll never know why she made me call her Mother.
Now, rest your eyes. Allow yourself to nod off into a lucid cold sweat of intolerance and confusion. Let the visage at the end of your bed naggingly tether you to a hyper-reality as your feet dip coolly into the pond of dreams. Let us avoid the crassness of going to sleep. The humble kitchen knives won't puncture you when they're flush between your bed and your back. Reverse Engineer was written by Faust. Pay Attention was written by Pazuzu. Carry Your Bag, Sir was written by Morbius Green. Mother Warn Me was written by Morgan and Hale. Links are in the description.